All right, so for topic 2, I'm just going to share the booklet and we'll see what it is that we're going to look at today. And remember, with the booklet, this is item 4. So each week when you're on Moodle and you're sort of getting ready for the workshop, the booklet will always be the item number 4. And you have a choice of, you can just be watching my booklet now on the screen, or you're welcome, if you've got access to a printer, you can print that off and have it in front of you. So that's the booklet. And then just so that, you know, we're all just getting our head around what it is we're doing, I'm just holding up now. These are the things that came in the post, and these are the ones that I ask you to fill in. Okay, so today, the one that's like that, that's coloured, and we're up to topic 2, we're going to be looking at this sheet here with the squares you can fill in, and these ones with the squares too. That's it. Okay, so that's why I've sent that out to you, because I didn't want someone to go, oh, I haven't got a printer, I don't have it. So you've all got that. Okay, but we'll just have a look at what's in the topic 2 booklet, and then we'll get started. So okay, so we're looking at identifying speech sound errors and listening to spoken words and identifying sound error patterns. And on the video that you might have watched already, that was item 2, you would have seen there were some speech sound errors towards the end of the video, and I got you listening out for them. We're going to have a warm-up activity in a moment about syllables. We're going to just check out the handout, which appears in this booklet, and it's it's sort of a repeated page here, so we've got all the information together. And then we're going to look at a vowel chart, because last week we were looking at consonants and today we're looking at vowels. And then we've got some activities to do together. There's 3 lots, and that will be in your activity booklet. And then we've got another activity, which is all about the short vowels. We're going to have a first look at an articulation chart, so we can see when these sounds would be expected to typically develop. And then the booklet has an answer sheet for the activities. So just going to stop that share. Okay, so today is all about listening, and I had a little whiteboard up at the start and I asked you about syllables in your name. So if I just bring that up again, some of you might have seen that as you logged on. And I'm wondering if you've ever thought about how many syllables are in your first name, middle name, last name, and then I put pets' names for those of you that, you know, had a few extra minutes. And the reason we're looking at syllables is it's a really good place to start with listening. So last week we just introduced the idea of what is a phoneme, and today we need to see if we can listen and hear the phonemes. And listening and hearing phonemes is not the same as seeing a written word and going, oh, I think I could work out what sounds are in that. So if you haven't worked out the syllables in your name, do you want to just have a think? I'll show you. For my name, I've got Jane, 1 syllable, Alison, 3 syllables. So you don't have to unmute, but can you just, where you are, because I can see you with your videos, do you want to just have a try clapping like Liesl? You'd be like Liesl. Do you want to just have a go clapping your syllables in your name? I won't be able to hear you, but I'll get an idea from your clapping how many syllables you might have. Okay. So if you have 1 syllable in your first name like me, Jane, can you just raise your real hand, not your virtual hand? Yeah. Kim, that's it, 1 syllable, great. If you have 2 syllables in your first name, can you raise your hand? Excellent, I can see Taylor, Liesl, Mikkel, yeah, great. If you have 3 syllables in your first name, can you raise your hand? Yeah. Danielle, Alison, great. So we understand what syllables are, and it seems quite easy. So we're going to do a warm-up task, and while we're doing it, I expect you're going to be going, this is easy. And that's okay, because a warm-up task should be easy. So I'll get you to do it even though you're thinking it's easy, because occasionally someone might be a little bit embarrassed to speak up, or just feeling a little bit like, oh, am I the only one that this isn't easy for? And actually, for some people, it's not easy, even adults. And if we're going to be helping someone with speech sounds, you'd agree we have to be able to listen to them, don't we, and hear. So what I'm doing is I'm starting right at the most basics of, can you hear? And this is a chance for you to check and go, oh yeah, I can do that. Or, okay, this is a bit harder than I thought. All right, so if you just keep an open mind with that, I'm going to share the screen and I'm going to bring up that warm-up activity. And this is an actual activity that I might use with children, because when children are getting ready to start school, we want to make sure that they understand syllables. And it's actually a really important sort of early literacy task. And some of them do, and some of them don't. And understanding syllables, it's kind of just feeling the beat. But I'm going to show you why some children have problems and some adults find this a bit hard, because kangaroo, some people might not go kangaroo and think, oh yeah, easy 3. They might think it's almost like clapping along to music. Kangaroo. Can you see that? Kangaroo. And then they're only doing 2 claps. So that's one of the errors that some people could make, kangaroo. But instead, what we need to do is just say it naturally, kangaroo, listen, kangaroo, and then clap each part, kangaroo. So I'm going to get to you to do this in a minute, but I'll just tell you one other thing that sometimes people do is they overthink it. Some people overthink it, like when they get to the word mouse, some people go, oh, well, I just want to do lots of claps. Kids will be like this, I want lots of claps. So they'll go, mouse. And you might have seen that. I think those of you that work in schools might have gone, that's what the kids do, mouse. So if you find yourself when you get to snake and you're like, I don't know how many syllables in snake, all you have to do is just say it naturally, okay? Snake. Shall we all try and clap that one? Snake. Snake. Okay, so I'll just show you on here. I'm just going to annotate. So I'm in kangaroo, I'm just going to put a 3 like that, because I can hear kangaroo, and then I've put a 3. So can you all just take a minute now? It should be super quick, but just clap each one and write the numbers, and then I'm going to put the answers up for you, and that will help you to go, oh yeah, this is easy. Great, I've got a good foundation, or, yeah, I had to think about that. Wow, didn't think I would. All right, just give you a minute to do that. Okay, so I'm going to now put the numbers in. Can you see, Kookaburra, I've put 4. Platypus. So as well as clapping, we can tap. Platypus. 3. Snake. 1. Mouse. 1. Caterpillar. Caterpillar. 4. Wombat. 2. Magpie. 2. Okay. So that was our first activity there. And I'll just stop the share. Excellent. And even though that's probably easy for all of you, this is something that you could teach to people. And I once taught a year 5 student who was 10, and he was having all sorts of problems with spelling and writing. And when I went to the class, the teacher wanted me to work on some quite high level literacy skills. And I just checked, he was in year 5, a 10-year-old, and I just checked, could he break words up into syllables? And he couldn't. He just couldn't do it at all. So I taught him that. And 1 week later, his class teacher came up to me and said, oh, we can't believe it. You know how you just taught him syllables? He's walking around everywhere clapping the syllables. He was a 10-year-old boy. He wasn't embarrassed to do it, talking about the syllables. And the teacher said his spelling was the best ever. The spelling test, he sat down and he got better on the spelling test just because you taught him syllables. So I've found that this is a very powerful thing. So that's a really good skill. Now, the next thing we're going to do as part of the warm-up is to actually throw a little bit of a spanner in the works now about syllables, because we're all feeling pretty confident, aren't we? Like, easy. Did you know that sometimes syllables are not easy? So this is what happens is we get influenced by spelling. I wonder if you've ever had to read the name of a place and you've gone, I don't know how to say that, like Leicestershire or Leicester, or maybe the, you know, the sauce, Worcester sauce, and it looks like Worcestershire sauce. So I want you to all now say the sentence, I like chocolate ice cream. Can you just say it to yourself? I like chocolate ice cream. And part of topic 2 is about listening. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to listen to each of you say, I like chocolate ice cream. So it's about listening, but it's about talking naturally. Now, I'm sure you all know how to talk naturally because that's what you do. But when we overthink it, suddenly we can't talk naturally. That's why we put it in a sentence. So we might start with Danielle K. Danielle, could you just unmute, and in your natural voice, could you just say, I like chocolate ice cream? Because I'm assuming you like it. Off you go.
I like chocolate ice cream.
Thank you. That was perfect. So we all agree that that was nice and natural sounding. Okay. Liesl, could you unmute and in a natural voice just say, I like chocolate ice cream?
I like chocolate ice cream.
Perfect. We're all so good at this. Mikkel, could you do the same? I like chocolate ice cream.
I like chocolate ice cream.
Great. I picked a good one. I think we all like it. Kim, your turn. Could you unmute and say, I like chocolate ice cream?
I like chocolate ice cream.
Brilliant. Thank you. Ali, could you have a go and say it?
I like chocolate ice cream.
Fantastic. And Taylor, could you unmute and tell us, I like chocolate ice cream?
I like chocolate ice cream.
Fantastic. All right. What I want you to all do now is just on a piece of paper, if you've just got a piece of paper ready, I want you to write down how many syllables in the word like, how many syllables in the word chocolate, and how many syllables in the word ice cream, okay? So, and while you're doing that, I'll just bring the whiteboard up. So the words I wanted you to do were like, chocolate, and ice cream. Okay. And if you just have those 3 words written and then the numbers after them. So for example, for like, I'm just going to put number 1. There we go. For chocolate, I wonder if you put 2 or if you put 3. And for ice cream, I'm pretty confident that you put 2. All right. Now that's interesting. For chocolate, I've got a choice. And a choice kind of suggests that it's not easy. I wonder why I would do that. So can you hold up how many fingers you put for like? How many syllables? Did you all put 1? Yep. And how many did you put for ice cream? 2. Ice cream. Ice cream. 2. Yeah, I jumped around. And now how many syllables did you put for chocolate? Can you show me? How come you're different? Ooh. So suddenly we're a group of adults. We could do kangaroo, we could do snake. We love chocolate. And now we've got a different answer. So now you might agree that syllables and listening is not as easy as we thought. Now, do you remember I asked you to all say chocolate ice cream? And I listened to all of you say it. Put your hand up if you think that me, Jane, as a speech pathologist of 28 years, put your hand up if you think I'm probably good at listening for syllables now because it's my job. Who thinks I'm probably good? So you're going to trust me? Okay. I'm going to show you what you all did. Every single one of you said this. Every single one of you said chocolate. Chocolate. 2 syllables. So what I want you to do now is say the sentence to yourself. You don't have to unmute. I want you to say, I like chocolate ice cream. I like chocolate ice cream. and I want you to listen to what's coming out of your own mouth. Okay, Ali, do you mind unmuting?
Yes.
Yeah, so is that a bit of a shock, isn't it, that you can actually think something's easy and then go, hang on. Were you a bit surprised by that?
It is, yeah, because to read it, like when you look at it and you break it up, I'm like, well, that's got to be 3, but we don't say it like that.
Yeah, well done. So Ali's totally hit the nail on the head. And that's why I'm getting you to do this, because we get influenced by spelling. And today I want you to get your hand like this. Can you all put your hand on your head? This is just like a little visual representation. And I want you to chuck the spelling away. Chuck it away. Because today you're thinking about phonemes. You're thinking the way a speech pathologist thinks. Danielle, could I get you to unmute? This is your review session. Do you remember when we did this last year?
Yeah.
And did you say it was 3 and then had to change your mind, or could you hear that all along, or you can't remember?
I can't remember, but Kookaburra, I wanted to make 5, even though I knew it was 4, and I had to keep saying it again because I wanted to add that up on the end of it as an extra.
Interesting, yeah. Today you got 2 for chocolate because I was looking. Could you hear now that you say, I like chocolate?
Yeah.
You could hear it. Yeah, thank you. Liesl, do you want to unmute? Did you
Yes.
did you say 2 or 3?
2.
Chocolate. What did you could you hear it was chocolate? Yeah, because you were right. You had 2. Yeah, well done. So you're an example of someone who listened to how you said it.
Right. Because I remember when you said say it naturally. So I knew that was a trick question.
Yeah, well done. How did you know? You just had an inkling? You were like, oh, I'm going to listen out to this. Yeah.
I just like heard what you said. Say it naturally. When I chocolate, we don't say chocolate.
We don't say chocolate. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Mikhail, this is interesting, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I just thought it was typical Australian lazy, to be honest. I thought.
So, no, you're right. We think it's laziness, but it's not. And when we look at schwa today, that vowel, which you would have seen in the video, people think that that's laziness, but it's not laziness. It's true accent. It's Australian accent, and it's correct. And even the Queen, with the Queen's English, she says a schwa sometimes, and so I just want you to remember that when we say chocolate, we're not being lazy, okay? And what this has been doing is it's been getting you to, like, don't trust the spelling, throw the spelling away, and instead trust what's coming out of your mouth. Just like Liesl said, yeah, she said, oh, and I went chocolate. So can you all just say to yourselves now, chocolate? Chocolate. Yeah, excellent. Thank you. Kim, do you want to unmute?
Yep.
What was that like? Because I saw you had a 3.
I had 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
yeah,
now,
I just thought, like you said, I thought it was not the spelling, but I just thought we were just abbreviating, like being lazy.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It was like the way we say it in Australia, but yeah. I think it was because my mum always used to sound stuff out to me when I was like learning to spell, like chocolate, like spell
exactly.
it. So, yeah,
exactly right. And Ali would probably agree with that. And when you're helping someone learn to spell, you'd go chocolate, wouldn't you, to help them to hear that O. But when we write the word chocolate, there's no sound. Let's just have a look. So thanks for that, Kim. So chocolate, we want to sometimes say chocolate when we're emphasizing, because we want people to hear that O, but it's not there when we say it. Chocolate. We can't hear that, can we? It's not chocolate. Now, Taylor, could you just unmute for me? You happy to do that?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you were working at a shop and someone came into you, Taylor, and said, could I please have a hot chocolate? Would you go, that person's a little bit weird? Would that sound a little bit weird?
Yeah, it would be a bit strange, yeah.
It would be a bit strange, wouldn't it? Whereas if they said, could I have a hot chocolate? Natural? Could I have a hot chocolate? Yeah. So that's all you have to do. So we've learned our first kind of little lesson or reminder today, and that is just speak naturally, throw away the spelling, and the last one is trust what's coming out of your mouth. When you hear a client say a word and they've got it wrong, repeat what they have just said under your breath and trust what's coming out of your mouth. So if someone wanted to say America and they said meta, then what you would do is under your breath, not out loud to them, but you might go meta. Okay, they just had 2 syllables, meta. And it's what comes out of your mouth that you trust. You get to the point where a client could go to say America and they just say meta, and you don't even have to say it. You can think it in your head. Do you want to just imagine you're thinking this now? Meta. Can you be clapping it almost like inside your brain without having to clap? Meta. Get the idea? So let's go to the whiteboard. And we've got one more little thing to do with our warm up. And I just want to see if you can do this in your head. Okay. I'm going to say a word and I want to see if you can just think how many syllables there were. Okay. If you want to do it on your bit of paper, you can, because what I'm going to do is, remember on the video I talked about these syllable markers? So if I do 2 markers like that, I'm actually preparing the page for a 3-syllable word. 1, 2, 3. Okay, get the idea? So if it's a 3-syllable word, I just need 2 slanty lines or 2 slashes. If it was a 4-syllable word, could you just draw on your page what you would put if you're preparing for a 4-syllable word like kookaburra? See if you do the same as me. Okay. Did you get that for a 4-syllable word? And if it was a 2-syllable word, what would your preparation look like for that? Like that. Okay, should be fairly straightforward. So now, if you were going to write a 1-syllable word, how many syllable markers would you put? Can you just hold up your hand to show how many syllable markers you'd put for a 1-syllable word? Yeah, none. That's it. So when it's a 1-syllable word, we don't need them. But a 1-syllable word is going to have phonemes, isn't it? So we might have a practice at just preparing a page about phonemes, and we don't put letters because for now, remember we wanted to throw away the spelling. We actually just want to kind of represent what we can hear. So on the video, do you remember I did duck hands? And this is great for when you're working with children or when you're working with adults like me, who is living a continuous childhood. And I think that's fantastic. So you're welcome to use duck hands. But if you're with a teenager, or if that doesn't do it for you, then you can put up a hand like this and you can just touch the fingers. Okay. So if I wanted to think about what I can hear in card, like I got a birthday card, the first thing I can do is just say it naturally. Card. Throw away the spelling. Don't think about that there's C-A-R-D. I don't want to get influenced by that because there's 4 letters in card, C-A-R-D. And I don't want to go, oh, there must be 4 phonemes, because the letters and the phonemes, there's no logic. They don't match. So just chuck that away. And I want to trust what's coming out of my own mouth. So should we all just say it naturally? Card, card. And now I'm going to get my duck hands. We'll do duck hands today. I'm sure you can all cope with that. And I just want to see what I can hear. K, d. And now I can see I had 3 duck hands. And if you're teaching children, this is ideal for teaching 4-year-olds and 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds. And this is ideal for helping 10 and 11 and 12-year-olds who are a bit behind. It's also good for adults who are happy to do it. I do this with a 20-year-old and he watches me do it. He sometimes does it back. But it's getting a visual thing, isn't it? And can you feel the tactile? K, a, d. Can you feel that? Now, let's just do a review from last week. K. What is that? K. What sort of phoneme? Voiceless, plosive, at the back. K. Yep. We didn't do vowels last week. We're doing vowels today. That's like a long sound. D, d. Voiced, plosive, in the middle. Okay. So as a speech pathologist, when I hear someone say card, I'm thinking, okay, voiceless sound, long vowel, voiced sound, two plosives, k, d. So I'm thinking about those sorts of things. All right. If we did it on the fingers, what would card look like? K, d. Now let's prepare the page for the word card. So you've got your pen and paper. Here's my page. I don't need a syllable line because it's one syllable. Should we check? Card. What did the duck hands translate to on the page? They translated to phoneme lines. So this is how I'd prepare for the word card. Would you agree? And now I can check my phonemes. It's not my syllables now, it's my phonemes. So card has 3 phonemes. I'm not putting any letters because that'll distract me with the spelling. Today we're thinking about listening. K, a, d. Could you put the phoneme lines for the word go? Like go to the shop. What would you put for go? Did you get that? Go. Can you put the lines for fish? But stop. Stop. Just say it. Fish. Throw the spelling away. Trust what comes out of your mouth. Fish. Off you go. Let's do our duck hands all together for fish. Wonder if you got 3 lines. Show me if you put 3 lines or if you put 4 lines. Off you go. Well done. Did you trust your mouth? Yeah. Ish. Why might someone put 4 phoneme lines? Danielle, do you want to unmute? Why do you think someone could put 4 phoneme lines for fish? Any idea?
Only forgetting the sh phoneme.
Yeah, so they might think it's huh? And sometimes very well-meaning parents do that. I've seen a child take their homework home and the parent goes, we're supposed to sound it out. I'm supposed to sound it out. And the parent will go, and then the kid hears fis. That doesn't sound like fish, does it? So here's an example of S and H are the letters, but the phoneme is one phoneme. Shh. Okay, so this is the stuff we're talking about. It's what came out of your mouth. And we now know that shh is one phoneme. On your bit of paper, can you write, where's the place of shh? Front, middle, or back? What's the manner of shh? Like, is it a plosive, a fricative, a liquid? And what's the voicing for shh? Voiced or voiceless? Shh. And I'll put that answer up. It's a middle, fricative, voiceless. Did you get that? Shh. And that's our phoneme. Well done. So look how much you're learning already just by being exposed to these new words. Well done. Okay. So we've done a nice warm up now. And I'll just say you're all doing extremely well. And I think it's good that you all found the warm up of the animals easy. Get your confidence up. And then Chocolate was like, oh, and it's just made you stop and think. So hopefully we're all focused now, and we're going to listen. And what are our 3 things we're going to do? We're going to say it naturally, and we're going to throw away the spelling, and we're going to trust what comes out of our mouth. Sometimes with words like snake, I've seen kids go, or even adults go, snake, snake, snake. And they're like, they're just trying to, they don't know if they're doing phonemes or syllables. So we just have to go, if it's a syllable, snake. If it's phonemes, get your duck hand ready. Snake. Okay, so today your job is to learn about, am I asking you for a syllable or am I asking you for a phoneme? So this is the copy of the topic 2 handout, and it appears on the first page of the book. Down the track, you might go, you know what, I'm going to print all the tutorial booklets. I'm going to have them all nice and neat on my shelf. And the handout, which you sort of read at the start, you know, contains some important information. So that's why I always put it in the booklet. So number 1, would you agree we're all listening carefully to words and we're starting with the syllables? And it says there that when we are speaking, our articulators are moving and producing up to 16 distinct phonemes per second. Wow, that's a lot of moves, isn't it? Now, no wonder if you're helping an adult who's had a stroke or a brain injury, no wonder they find it hard to speak, because if they find it, they might find it hard to do the buttons up on their shirt. They might find it hard to get in and out of a car. When they're speaking, it's coordination. And suddenly their tongue, teeth and lips can't move at 16 times per second. That's why we might need to speak more slowly with them and encourage them to speak slowly. And even working on syllables is fantastic for working with adults. And I've done that a lot. Just if they're trying to say hospital and they can't get it, you might say to them, I'm just going to say hospital slowly. Hospital. Would you like to just try the first bit? Hos. And I'll show you some videos of this later as we go through the course, and it works at all ages. If any of you've learned another language, like not English, you probably had to slow it down to try and get the coordination. So number 2 there about syllables, that's what we've just done with our warm-up. And number 3, looking at the phonemes within a syllable. And we started to do just phonemes on their own, but now we're going to look at a 2-syllable word. We want to look at the syllables, doctor, and then we want to look at the phonemes in each syllable, doctor. So we do a 1-syllable word, it's just phonemes. But once we get to 2 syllables or 3 syllables or 4 syllables, then we need to first of all find the syllables and then find the phonemes. So we do 2 things at once, and that's why we have claps for syllables and duck hands for phonemes. And number 4, the most common vowel in English is schwa. And you would have seen that on the video. And if you have a look on the right-hand side here, this might have looked like a little bit of gobbledygook when you read it. But if we looked at koala and we want to say how many syllables in koala, koala, that bit was probably quite easy. But then we want to talk about how many consonants and vowels. We actually, if we're thinking about phonemes, we need to just listen and not try and read it, because would you agree that when you read koala at the top section, K-O-A-L-A, it doesn't really match what we say, does it? Ko-a-la. We actually don't say ko-a-la. If you come down here, we actually say kwala. Koala. Let's all say koala and see if that's natural. Koala. Look at that koala in the tree. Can you try and say that naturally? Look at that koala in the tree. And now say it down here where I'm circling the natural way. I'll go first and then you go it. Look at that koala in the tree. Your turn. Excellent. So I'm going, that's what you can do with these words, is go back and forth. Kangaroo. Or is it kangaroo? Possum, possum. Well, that one actually sort of is about right, possum. But what about echidna? Echidna. If you were from another country and you didn't speak English and you read that, you might go, echidna. Look at that, echidna. But what do we say? Echidna, echidna. So I'm going to stop the share. Can you put your hand here and think about the very first syllable in the word echidna? That's the schwa. And we're going to learn about schwa now. Echidna, echidna. Okay. So in this topic, we're going to learn how to say schwa and how to write schwa. So get your piece of paper and let's have a go at writing schwa. First of all, I'm going to write a normal small e. Can you write a normal small e and you can compare to this? To write schwa, I suggest you start on the right and move to the left. And now on an E, you'd normally go up, but instead you come down. And then you finish at the top. Try that again, right to left, under, and at the top. And the sound is And this sound is very common in Australian English, and it's not laziness. It's just what we say. So if we say the word again, I would like to do that again. Let's apply our principles of just say it naturally, throw away the spelling, trust what comes out of your mouth. Can you say the sentence, I would like to do that again tomorrow? I would like to do that again tomorrow. I'm going to type that sentence. Imagine you've asked your client to say it, or your client has just said that to you. Oh, I liked that. I would like to do that again tomorrow. Mikkel, could you unmute and just say it in your natural voice? I would like to do that again tomorrow.
I would like to do that again tomorrow.
Excellent. I could hear a schwa when Mikkel said again, and it was, he didn't say again or again, he said again, again. So I'm going to get someone else to come on and say the sentence, and I want you to be listening and see if you can tell that when we speak naturally, we say again. Danielle, could you come on and just say that sentence, please?
I would like to do that again tomorrow.
Excellent. Yeah. It's fast, isn't it? You weren't being lazy. That I wouldn't go, oh, Danielle has a speech problem. I'd go, that was normal, acceptable speech. Yeah. Ali, could you come on and say the sentence, please?
I would like to do that again tomorrow.
Excellent. Can you go, hey, I'd like to do that again tomorrow?
Hey, I'd like to do that again tomorrow.
Yeah. Can everyone hear the schwa? Yeah.
I'd like to do that again tomorrow.
Yeah, I can hear your schwa. You're all starting to hear that? Taylor, can you say it for us?
I would like to do that again tomorrow.
Excellent. Great. So I think we all agree that we can hear a schwa. Now, what's so fascinating is it happens in two-syllable words, like again, but it also happens in words that sometimes we don't say schwa and sometimes we do. And I'm going to show you what I mean by that. You want to all say that, say it naturally, trust what's coming out of your mouth. Can you just say that sentence to yourself? One of those words we sometimes emphasize and we say the vowel. And one of those words, quite often when we're speaking, just normally, we change a vowel to a schwa. Now, the already has a schwa, and we're going to see that in the chart coming up. So the is a one-syllable word with a schwa, the. So can you just say that sentence naturally? And one of the other words has a schwa in it instead of its normal vowel when we're just speaking sort of naturally and maybe a bit fast. See if you can find it. I wonder if you realised it's two. So listen to me say this quite sort of methodically in a correct way. Let's go to the shops after work. Let's go to the shops after work. That might be what we'd say to a 4-year-old. Oh, you've been such a good girl. Let's go to the shops after work. But what if it was to your mate? Can you listen to what's coming out of my mouth? Hey, let's go to the shops after work. Let's go to the shops after work. Keep listening and see if you can hear too. Let's go to the shops after work. Let's go to the shops after work. Now you say it yourself that fast and listen to your own speech. So to has actually become to. And as a speech pathologist, that's how we hear it. Let's go to the shops after work. But most of you would go, oh no, I'm saying the oo, the o, because you're just thinking of the spelling in your head. But would you now actually agree that you say, let's go to? Let's go to the shops after work. Another reason why children, when they write, you know, they might not hear to because they don't have the spelling in their head. That's what's interesting. So as literate adults, we have the spelling in our head and we imagine that when we say chocolate, we're going chocolate because we're thinking of the spelling. And when we say to, we're going to. But I bet if you walk away from the tutorial today and you listen, you're going to hear that most people don't say to in a lot of sentences. They might go 1, 2, 3 when they're saying a number. But can I give that to you? Can I give that to you? Can I give that to you? Taylor, can you come on? I think you might be our youngest person, which is great. Young people tend to speak a bit quicker. Can you say, imagine you got your friend there. Hey, can I give that to you?
Hey, can I give that to you?
Did you all hear her schwa? Now, can you say it like this, Taylor? Hey, can I give that to you?
Hey, can I give that to you?
Did that feel unnatural?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you all try saying, can I give that to you? All try and say that. Can I give that to you? Do you think if you walked up to your colleague, Ali, if you went up to another teacher and said, hey, can I give that to you? Would they stop and look at you and go, what?
Yes, with a puzzled face. Yes,
Yeah.
they would.
All right. So this week, I want you to all listen and find each time you say t instead of to. You're not being lazy. It's normal speech. And the reason we do it is because we don't speak like robots. If we said all of our vowels, this is how we'd sound. If we said all of our vowels all of the time, we would sound like this. And some computer-generated speech devices sound like this because they can't put the schwa in the words. Raise your hand if you've ever heard an automated voice and it sounded unnatural like that, especially in the past. The new automated voices are so good because they've programmed how to put schwa in. They've programmed how to put schwa in. Do you hear my two? They've programmed how to put schwa in. So we need schwa in Australian English to sound natural. When we speak, we have light and shade. And our 2 and 3 and 4 syllable words usually have a schwa because otherwise, like caterpillar would sound like that and kookaburra would sound like that. Not all languages do it. Japanese does sound like that. Does anyone here speak Japanese? In Japanese, for my name is, it's watashi wa. And they don't put schwas. They go watashi wa Jane-san, anata wa deri desu ka? Watashi wa Jane-san, anata wa deri desu ka? So some languages don't have schwa and every vowel is evenly stressed. But Australian English and British English and American English, they are all languages that have some words stressed and some words unstressed or neutral. I'll give you a minute to think about that because that's probably quite a revelation. Yeah. So you might want to read back through those animals and have a look now, and that'll make sense when you see the schwas. But if we look at this one, I can rotate it so we can see it a bit better. And I'll just pull that out and increase the size. So this is going to be one of the supplementary items and you can print it without it having like topic 2 booklet in the corner. And for those of you that, you know, really finding this interesting and thinking, I want access to this information, I suggest after the workshop, you go into the supplementary items, which was number 7, find this and print it. If you haven't got a printer and you really like a printed copy, maybe email me, I can post one out to you. But this is the 20 vowel phonemes in spoken Australian English. And it's going to help you to listen, so that if you're listening to a client and you're going, what vowel are they saying? It's going to help you to listen, because you're not listening for 5 different vowel sounds. That'd be quite easy. You're listening for 20 vowel sounds. And if you remember, I said that each language in the world can have different number of phonemes. Well, in Spanish, they only have 5 vowel phonemes, and we have 20. So which would be easier to learn to speak, Spanish or English? Spanish by far. And Spanish doesn't have an sound, like on the picture, can you see nut? So in Spanish, if someone's learning to speak English and they currently speak Spanish, they often can't say because it's not in their repertoire, and they might say an o instead, like a close one, and they'll say not. Can I have some knots? And it's good to know that if you're working with different languages, to understand why some vowels are hard for them. But in English, we have 20 vowels. And for school teachers trying to help their poor little 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old students to write the vowels, there's all these rules and there's all these exceptions. And it's because you're trying to learn to spell 20 different sounds using only 5 vowel letters, plus the 4 letters that help with the vowels, which is Y, W, L, and R. Like when we write car, you know, we might put an A and an R. So let's have a look at this and we'll see what I'm talking about. And then I'm gonna get you to do the activity. So the short vowels we've got coming down the side, at, et, it, o, u. This is a new one we're gonna learn, and there's the schwa. Now the u looks like a little line, a teardrop, and a little line. So let's just try and write that on your piece of paper. I'll stop this share and I'll bring up the whiteboard and we'll all have a go. So it's going to look like this. You go across like a teardrop and across. Ooh. Cross, teardrop, across. Ooh. And this might be like in the word look. Sorry, I'm not very good at writing when it's like that. So look is really ooh, ooh, k. Duck hands. Ooh, ooh, k. Ooh, ooh, k. And the reason I'm going to teach you that symbol is because if we write double O, what else can double O mean? It could mean ooh, couldn't it? Like in moon. So if you had a client that said booked, and you're like, oh, I want to write booked. I want to show the speech pathologist. They said booked. You might go, oh, I know, I'll put 2 O's. I'll put booked, like look. And then next week, what are you going to say when you see that? They said boot. Oh, no, they didn't. Oh, did they say boot or boot? And you're confused because the spelling's kind of confusing. But if you put this symbol, you'll remember it's book. Okay, so that's the only one that you needed to learn, because all the other ones can be represented by letters in a way that's not confusing, but is confusing. So let's say the pictures now. Can we all say them together? Cat, pen, bin, dot, nut, bush, and then I've just put a schwa there, because the only word with one syllable that has in it is the, and I don't know how to draw the. Can anyone think of how to draw the? It's not a noun, is it? So when we get to that one, we'll just say Can you hear the in bush? Say bush. Trust what comes out of your mouth. Bush. Ooh. Some people will think they can hear like in nut, because they go, oh, well, the there's an there. So, but it's not bush, is it? It's bush. So that when you say the pitches, it'll help you. We have long vowels that we call single because it's a single position of the tongue. Let's say the vowels down the side together. E, or, oo. And now let's say the pitches. Car, bee, fern, fork, moon. And now I'll stop the share. And I want you to see what I mean by single. I put my mouth into one position and I don't change it. See, there's no movement. Can you all try that? The next one is E. I could just keep going and my tongue doesn't change. Try that. E. Now try it's a single position. Now try or, single position. Ooh, single position. Now here's a little aside. If you're like, I don't want any more information too much, you can just go there, not listening, not listening. But these are called monophthongs. Monophthongs. Have you ever heard that technical word before? Monophthongs. Mono as in one position. It's not in your handout because I don't want to overload you with too much information, but monophthongs. And then now let's look at the long vowels, double. Double because there's two positions of the tongue. Let's say them down the side here. You're going to say them with me. A, I, O, ow, air, ear, oi, ua, ua. Now let's say the pitches together, just naturally. Clay, pie, toes, clown, chair, ear, toys, lure. I'll be sending this video, or I'll be putting this video up tomorrow so you can come back and watch if you've missed any of it. Let's do those words one more time. Just say them naturally. Clay, pie, toes, clown, chair, ear, toys, lure. And now I'll stop the video and see if you can think about the fact that these are double, so they're called diphthongs. Some of you might have heard that, diphthongs. I'll write those words up in a minute. You don't have to remember that, that's like an extra bit. But two sounds. So remember the monophthong, or the one sound, the single one was ah, like in car. Can you all say ah? Feel how your mouth is a single position. Ah. Now let's say a, like in clay. Ready? Just a. A, a, a. Can you feel that you have a movement? You can't just make one part that just keeps going. It doesn't sound like a, does it? A. And with your clients, particularly your adult clients or your clients with dyspraxia, with speech difficulties. So Liesl and Mikkel, this is really relevant to you, and Kim, this is really relevant to you, and Taylor, is that adults that have dyspraxia or children that have dyspraxia, they often can't get the movement. So they go to say 8, like number 8, and they go at, or art. And we need them to say 8. Can you all try that? 8. Topic 8 is going to be all about this. 8. Or when we say 9, they might say naan. Sounds like they want naan bread. Let's do I. Feel the movement. I. So 9 would be 9. 8. 9. We've never thought about how hard our vowel sounds are, have we? But they're really hard. And today's just about you learning about them and listening. All right, let's go back to that picture. We'll have the pictures up. Can you try going down and see if you can feel the movement? I'll do it once and then I'll give you a minute to just go down and say each one of these double ones again. O, O, ow, ow. See the movement? Air, air. With air, it has like a schwa on the end. Air, air. Hear the air. Ear. That has a schwa on the end too. Ear, ear. Oi, oi. That has a schwa. So just take a minute now and say those long vowels, and I'll type those words on that I was talking about. You don't have to know these because I think they're the silliest words that anyone ever made up. But I know some of you might go, I've spent my whole life going, what is a monophthong? And someone's finally telling me. You might be like, I want to record this. So there's monophthongs, and they're even hard to say. Diff, the PH is making it an F. Diphthongs. Monophthongs and diphthongs. Monophthongs, diphthongs. Okay, we're going to do our first activity. You want to get your book ready. And I feel I should apologise in advance because this is going to be tricky. All right. Hopefully you'll be pleasantly surprised and it won't be, and you'll go, no. But if it is, I just want to warn you that I'm going to be challenging you to listen, but I think you can do it. And the exciting news is that if you have a look at this page, can you see the blue hyperlink? Topic 2, audio file, short vowels. Okay. So on Moodle, the audio files are there. And while we're doing it now, if you go, oh, wow, this is a bit much, you can take your own time after the tutorial and go back and play the audio files and fill in the boxes, okay? There's 3 pages to do. There's the short vowels with the cat and the pen. There's the long single, car, bee, and there's the long double. So we're just going to make a start now and take as much time as we need. And then you'll be able to finish this with those audio files where you can sit, no distractions, and listen and go over it. And then if you're really going, then on the topic booklet is the answers. The one you can download, page 8 has the answers, okay? So let's hope you're going to be pleasantly surprised and you're going to go, I can do this, but just be ready for it to challenge you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say a word for you and I want you to write it in the correct place based on what you can hear. Okay, and the example we've got is gym. So if you can all find that on your page. So if I said this word to you, gym, I want you to write it using the normal spelling, gym, G-Y-M, and I want you to decide if it's a real word or a nonsense word. So you can see there's real words. Now, gym is a real word. You go to the gym, and I'll say it in a sentence so you understand. But the next one, imagine I've said, is soft. You might want to look at my face when I say it, soft. And you're going to go, well, that's not a real word. It's a nonsense word, okay? Nonsense words are useful when you're practicing listening. So you know it's going to come in the nonsense word column. And then I want you to either do duck hands or think duck hands, soft, oh. And when you say that vowel that comes out your mouth, soft, oh, I want you to go, it's oh. And then you're going to look and go, which of the pictures also has oh? And can you see it's dot? Let's all try dot with our duck hands. D, oh, d, oh. Now let's try soft. S, oh, s, oh. Would you agree that it's both an oh? Okay. So that means that that's where you would write it, under nonsense words and next to dot. So let's all try one together and we'll see if we're on the right track. So the word I want you to write is, it's a nonsense word. Have a listen. Rab. Rab. So say it. Rab. Use your duck hands if you need to. R-A-B. Rab. And then let's see if you got it. See if you did this. Did you do that? Rab. Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to do all the words now. And if it's easy, great. And if it's confusing, it's all right. And then we'll talk about it at the end. Okay. So the first one that I want you to write is love. I love chocolate. So just write the word love. Okay, the next word I want you to put is what. Like, what is your name? What? Okay, the next one I want you to write is could. Like, could you come with me? Could. Okay, the fourth word I want you to write is a nonsense word. Hig. 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 And now another nonsense word. Fet. Fet. And now a real word. Said. Like, I said to him, that's okay. Said. And now another real word. The. The. Look at the ball. The. And now a nonsense word. Mub. 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 And now a nonsense word. Dup. 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 A nonsense word. Pl. 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 And the last one is a real word. Have. I have a drink. Have. And if you're going, I don't have anywhere to put have, that's okay if that square was already filled. So I'll give you a minute now. I've done them all. I'm going to get the answers ready, and then I'm going to show you the answers, okay? So see how you felt about that. All right, everyone, let's have a look at the answers, and I want you to go through and see if you got all of them, you got some of them, and I'll put a little mark next to the ones which are difficult for a lot of people. I'll put a little arrow. So said can be hard for people. What? Love. Even could. So any questions about any of them? You can just unmute if you have a question. All right, raise your hand if you didn't have love next to the U, you had it next to the O. Did anybody have love next to the O? Right, well done. A lot of, because love is an isn't it? Isn't that interesting? So some people think that the O should go next to the O. So well done. What about what? Raise your hand if you had what next to the A or the cat. Anyone have what up the top? Let's all try what with our duck hands. What? Opt. What? Opt. So even though we write an A, we think it's at, but if I said what's your name, that's crazy, isn't it? Okay. And what about said? Put your hand up if you didn't really know where to put said and you had to kind of go, Who had said next to E, the E? You have E? Could you hear that it's, yeah. S-E-D. S-E-D. This is really fascinating. Ali, what's your take on all this? Do you want to tell us what you're thinking?
Oh, I was just thinking that English is such a hard language to learn. Like I've never really thought, I mean, I'm early childhood, so I'm preschool age, but even like, you know, kindy, and I've had my own daughter learning to write, and I never really gave a lot of thought to how difficult all the crazy rules are that we have with spelling English, because it's not how we talk at all.
No, it's not. Exactly. Yeah, well done. So I'll stop the share. So the purpose of that exercise was to get you to trust what you hear and to think about phonemes. And we're going to need that for the rest of this course, because when a client or a child says something wrong to you, like if they say, I do to the dops and det deuce, I'm going to go to the shops and get some juice. You need to be able to hear what they said and not go, oh, I think they said juice, I'll write a J, because deuce, what am I saying? Deuce. I'm saying a D. So if I was doing my phonemes now, deuce, D, oos, and I need to be able to think of it, it's D and oo and S. Okay, whereas if I spelt the word juice, J-U-I-C-E, I might be thinking, is there a U in there? Or is there a C in there? The spelling's a bit strange, isn't it? Okay, so well done on doing that activity. What I'm going to suggest is that you do the audio files for the next two. It's going to be exactly the same thing. You'll be able to go into Moodle, click on the audio files and hear each word. So I'm just going to bring that up so that you can see what I'm saying. And we're just about finishing our time. So I'll just bring that up so that you can hear. So when you go on Moodle topic 2, can you all see that? Yeah. There's going to be the audio files here. Okay. So if I click now on this one, it'll download the file and then it'll play.
Short vowels.
Can you hear that now?
From page 3 of the topic 2 booklet. 1. Soft. Soft. It's a nonsense word.
Okay, and I'll go back and just do one more. So the long vowels now.
Long vowels, single. Page 4 of the topic 2 booklet.
Page 4 of the booklet.
1. Da. Da. It's a nonsense word. Da.
Okay, get the idea? So you'll be able to go and do that. And I think that's good because I wanted to go slowly through that first one so that you could get the idea of what it is, and then you can go on to Moodle and have a listen. So that's brought us to the end of this tutorial. I'm going to show you in the booklet where we got up to. So we did page 3. Page 4, you can go on and find the audio files in Moodle. The other place is, it's here as a hyperlink. That's if you're looking at it on the screen, and the hyperlinks do work. And then you can come and do these ones here, which is the double vowels. All right. This little activity here is just showing those 7 short vowels and just showing them on a page. And what we might do is when we start topic 3, we might review that page there and have a look at it. And then the articulation guide here, we're going to start going through this from topic 5 once we get into module 2. And I've just put it in the booklet for today because some of you might like to start reading through it. And the main point from today was that, see the vowel sounds come in early, 2 to 2.5-year-olds. So all the vowels we learnt today, which we agree are difficult to sometimes to hear and are difficult to spell, they're actually easy to say. So you probably won't be helping people with vowel sounds if it's just typical child development. Where we tend to have to help with vowel sounds is people with disorders, like adults that have a car accident or have a stroke, or children that have a lifelong disorder. But usually the vowel sounds are pretty good. Children hear them and say them. It's the consonants that they have trouble with. And this is a chart that you can print off if you want and start to have a look at, but I'll slowly start referring to it. Okay. Page 8 was the answers. So that's where you can come and get the answers once you've done the audio files. All right. So yeah, this little one here, this is the only thing we didn't go through today, but it's, if I just spin it, can you see it's just those short vowels from the vowel chart? There we go.
Here's a little fun activity that we can do. It's also a very helpful one, and school teachers in particular like this, but it'll be good for all of you to develop your ability to hear the short vowels because it is quite hard. So there's our short vowels down the side. A, E, I, O, A, U, E. And what I've done is I've developed a way of showing that there are 7 short vowels. So can you put your hand up like you saw in the poster? Now, we tend to already know things like A, E, I, O, U, because we know about 5 vowels. But this is the short vowels, and it's the phonemes or the sounds. So can you copy me and do the short vowels instead? A, E, I, O, A. So I'm actually doing those short vowel sounds. I'll say them, and then you say them after me. Ah, and I did a little tap to make it be obvious that it's short. Ah, eh, eh, I, o, ah, ah. Now, if that's a little bit hard for you, it's just because it's something new. Close your eyes and listen to those sounds. Ah, eh, I, o, ah. Open your eyes. Now you try and do the whole thing yourself a few times. Remember on the picture, there's not just 5 short vowels, there's actually 7. So we've also got U, like in bush, and like in the word the. Can you see the picture of the hook? So hook has an U, and then the in the middle of the hand, like the showing the middle or neutral place in the mouth where we make schwa. So let's look at U. So we're going to get the finger we were pointing with and make it into a hook. Oh, can you hear the oh in hook? Let's do duck hands. Oh, it's got the oh, hasn't it? So I'm going to put oh on the end. A, e, I, o, a, oh. And that's a way to help me remember oh, like a hook. And then the last one was in the middle, the schwa, where we just go Can you see that I barely moved because it's the neutral vowel? Whereas see my jaw came down. E, I, o. My mouth's open a bit. O, jaws down a bit. Ooh, I've got like some pursing in my lips. Ooh, but nothing. It's just neutral. Sometimes I teach kids by just going like someone's hit you in the stomach. That's how you can get schwa. Let's do all 7. Ready? A, e, I, o, a, u, e. My turn. Close your eyes and listen. A, e, I, o, a, u, e. All right, your turn. You say them as I point. How did you go? I teach that activity to school teachers all the time to use with their kindergarten kids and their year 1 and their year 2, because you can turn it into a discrimination task or a listening task. Children often find it hard to hear the difference between a and or a and e, or e and a, or a and u. But they need to be able to hear the difference, because the teacher will say, well, write it as it sounds. So I want you to get your hand up and your pointer up, and I'm going to make a sound, and this is the activity that you can use with this sheet. I'm going to make a sound and you have to show me what it is. Okay, if I can see you through the screen, I'll be able to see from your hands. If I can't see you, because this is pre-recorded, then you can check for yourself. E. U. A. A. O. E. U. I. How did you go with that? Wow. So that's quite tricky, isn't it? Can you point when you hear the vowel? Could. Did you get said? What? Have? Love? Gym? Said? The? And now how about the nonsense ones? Soft? Rab? Dup? Pl? Fet? Hig? Mub? Could you hear them all? That's so good for your brain and your thinking. We're tuning your ear in to hearing the 20 different phonemes that are vowels in spoken English. Okay, so as usual, if any of you need any support with anything, don't forget to contact me during the week. I'm really happy to jump on Zoom and go, like if you try to do those audio files and it's not working for you, jump on and I'll help you. And there'll be a few people sort of trying to catch up next week anyway. So we'll start with that hand vowel activity next week, and that'll be a good place to get everyone back on board together. Okay? Thanks, everyone.